Hey Jeremy. I hope this video makes sense. I'm just trying to get to the basics of sharpening. This is a 6 by 1 inch stone. I usually use it on my clamp system. The advantages of a clamp system obviously is you can set the angle whatever you want and it'll keep that angle consistently. Disadvantage is it's a little slower because you are fixed to that angle, even though it gives a consistent angle. A lot of blades, like factory blades, are not done on a clamp system. They're free-handed on a belt, so there's going to be inconsistencies. That's why you see some stuff that's a little skinnier and then it widens at the tip. Or even with thicker tips, they actually widen out naturally, but they might actually account for that by narrowing the angle as they approach the tip, if that makes sense. But with the freehand system, I know the work sharp system you're using has a guide, so I think it's like what, 15 and 20 either way. If you follow that, the first time you do it, you're gonna have to sharpen that on both sides until you roll that edge over to the tip. Once you do that, you're gonna get a burr, which I hope you understand what that is. So basically, when you're sharpening, let's say these are your angles, you're sharpening this side, it'll raise that steel to the top. Then when you do the other side, it'll raise it again. When you have a burr all the way from tip to heel, that means that you've apexed it, meaning you've met those two sides at a steep angle. Now that burr is just extra shit hanging out, so right now your edge might look like this if you look at it microscopically. Just think of my fingertips as an example. But what you want to do is you want to flip it until you expose that nice crisp edge. If you still have some burr left over, it may cut, but once that stuff snaps off, you may have a very irregular edge like this, which would hinder you cutting cleanly on stuff. That could be one thing you're having an issue with. With lower grits, this is 140 grit stone. That burr is going to be pretty rough, pretty strong, and pretty hard to do. So once you've raised an edge on both sides, I'm sure on your stone you go into the edges like this. Then you want to do very light passes side to side until you keep flipping that burr to weaken it. And then you want leather, even if it doesn't have like emulsion. That's gonna help cleanly, like if this is bare, if you take that burr off. I'm doing it this way, away from the edge, because you don't want to cut into your leather that way. So leather strop is a must, even if it's just to grab and gently remove that burr off that off the apex. Then once you've exposed that clean apex, that's when you're gonna see a lot more consistent results. Other things, if you want to try it, you notice if I match the angle there, it may not be consistent from front to back, plus it takes a lot of muscle memory. So what you may want to do is raise it a bit to apex it faster. You may not get the full bevel, but you'll make sure you apex it to get the burr. Meaning if it's like at 17 degrees here, if you change the angle just a bit, you're definitely going to hit the apex. So you're going to get a burr all the way, but what you want to do is you want to feel for it. And I'll show you an example of a burr, and I'm still working on it. Pardon my camera. Sorry. You see that glint? That's a burr, and then I don't have a glint right here, so I'm still working the whole edge as even at a time to make sure I have that glint on this side as well, flipping it back and forth. And when I see a feel, you can feel the burr, and you can see it with the sliding. So there's the burr right here, and I'm still working on this section right here. When you have that, you flip it and you do the same thing. You don't want to sit there and do the same part over and over. For example, what I mean is, sorry, I'm trying to stabilize my little light thing. If you've got a burr here, but you're still working on the front or vice versa, some people make the mistake of just sharpening this side. I still recommend doing the whole side until all of it's got a burr on there, and you flip it and do the same thing. So, and then some people, if they don't have the tip apex and they don't have a burr, they'll just grind the tip. But what that'll do is just widen the apex at the tip and leave this part skinny. So you want to spend equal amounts of time from heel to tip on either side, and flip often if you want. Even if you don't get a burr before you flip, that's going to keep both bevels as even as possible, because you're removing steel anytime you're working on it. Even if you don't get that burr, which is, like I said, that meeting of the two bevels together until they raise enough steel to make that fine line. This is an older knife. I was just using it as an example because I use it to cut everything here at home. I hope that helps. If you want me to clarify anything, or if there's something more specific that you wanted me to go over, please let me know. That was just my way of explaining. I hope it was of some help, some benefit. I know the work sharp stone you're using is about this size with the guides. What you may want to do is, if you, like I said, raise the angle a bit, it'll make sure you're actually hitting the tip, and it'll help you practice apexing it, getting a burr. And then once you have the burr on both sides, just do light passes like this, alternating until that burr is weakened enough where you can strop it off or move up to the fine side. The finer the grit, the higher the grit, the smaller the particles can be, and easier that burr will be to manage. Because that lower grit, stones, abrasives, whatever, that burr is going to be a lot stronger than when you move up grit. So this is a 140. I'm working on this blade right here with that. So I hope that's of some help, buddy. And I'll send you a link to this to take a look at. All right, thanks.